There are some people who talk with their eyes, and then there are few who are also the epitome of grace, I would say. I have one such beautiful 4G wife with me today. Hi, I'm Arthi Karthik. Welcome to this episode of How's the Josh. The lady with me is Vibha Kupreti Lakhera. Hi, Mrs. Lakhera.
Hello Arthi, it's so lovely to connect with you on this platform. First of all, let me congratulate you and thank you for asking me to come on board for this interview.
My privilege.
And the second part, which I would really like to mention, is that I had almost forgotten my maiden surname as well.
Okay.
So you mentioning it out there sends quite a loud message that we women, a lot of times we forget about our own identity, and that means first of all get our the surname getting replaced by our the husband's surname. So yes, that's a very wonderful way of getting introduced after so many years.
My privilege. Thank you for your time. So to start with, talking about surname, how has the journey been for you as an army officer's wife till now?
The journey has been very wonderful. I come from a completely civilian background. When I got married, I was quite comfortable getting into the organization and the kind of environment that it offers, because I don't know, for some reason I even though I had no exposure about the army, or I knew nothing of the ways of the army, yet it wasn't very difficult for me to settle down in this environment. And since after that there hasn't really been any looking back. I just kept meeting new people, and for some reason I had really good experiences with people who came,
You met good people along the way.
Yeah, along the
That's
way.
the
Yes,
reason.
yes, absolutely. And the journey has been quite, it has been an adventurous journey, if I can put it
In one word.
in one word. Yeah.
And how has it been as an educator for you? You started Project Empathy.
Yeah.
So how did the idea of Project Empathy come to you?
Right. So I suppose you may be aware that I have been working for Reachout Foundation for
Yes,
the last
I know Reachout Foundation.
yeah, for the
It's
last
8-year-old now?
Yeah, it's 8-year-old now. So I have been involved with the foundation from the very beginning. I have seen venture grow up in the ways that it has, and along with that my growth has been exponential, if I can put it that way. I was living in an ivory tower before I started work with Reachout in that sense, and though I knew the meaning of the word discrimination, I really did not know how it pans out for people experientially.
You saw it at very close quarters.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't see it at close quarters. I became oriented. I got oriented about what discrimination looks like for most people only when I started my work and my journey in Reachout Foundation, because the foundation is addressing racial and ethnic discrimination as such. So and that was like turning a new page in my life book altogether. Since after that there has been no looking back. In the year 2019 we halted the activities of the foundation for certain reasons, and then to 2020 we all know pandemic had set in. It was quite a traumatic time for everyone, and that was a time when I was everyone was homebound, and so was I. And I found myself teaching a few maids' children in the evening.
Okay.
So I used to
Such a
teach.
noble cause.
Yeah, it wasn't really noble. I wouldn't want to call it noble, because it was, I saw them getting their homework, and sometimes my own maids children, they would come and ask me, ma'am isko kaise kare, ye kya kare, ye kare, wo kare. So then I said, okay fine, let's get together for 1 hour at least in the evening, and we will on a rotational basis study math, English, Hindi and all of that.
Okay.
And so then when these kids, they used to come and we used to have this this little class going on, I would also talk to them about, let's say, discrimination, about climate change, about several other issues. And surprisingly, these children, they were absorbing all this information so well. And I also overheard them talk about, let's say, ये पेड़ उगाऊंगा मैं अपने घर के पास में, ये इसका पेड़ उगाऊंगा और उससे हवा अच्छी हो जाएगी. So I could see that they were, you know, absorbing all the information, and it was also coming into their discourse on a day-to-day basis, even when they were out of the classroom, you know. And of course, as we all have experienced the pandemic, there was so much of trauma going on. So all of this put together, you know, me and my colleague Sudha Gemini, she is the principal of Alok Bharti Public School, which has been the nodal school for me and my work. It's like a social laboratory for me, where I go and we do certain, implement certain activities and ideas, and after which it becomes, it comes alive. If there's a tweaking that has to be done, we do it, and then we carry it forth in other schools as well. So between Sudha and me, we decided that it was perhaps time to talk about empathy and compassion to the children.
Yes.
We had already created
That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah.
And we are just stuck with the subjects which
Yeah.
are academically
Yeah.
oriented,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about emotion.
Yeah, we
That's
don't.
very important. So
Yeah.
have you been going to schools and talking about empathy, and which schools have you been to?
Yeah, so this year, this is the second phase of Project Empathy, 2022. Last year was the first phase, and we started in an online mode itself, wherein Alok Bharti was one of the schools, and we connected with a school in Poland, Krakow. And that was also almost like a fait accompli for me, because this person called Agnieszka, she's become a very good friend of mine. She kind of connected with me through LinkedIn. And she's got her foundation, which is called Ad Lucem Foundation. They are also addressing discrimination in their own country, and that is how she got in touch with me. She must have gone to the website that Reachout has, and we started interacting, and from there both of us decided that we could initiate a conversation around empathy. It would be beneficial as well. So and the good thing is that we transcended the time and space reality as well, you know. I would send the content, and we were totally on the same page about the whole vision of this.
How long was this project that you worked on, your international?
This was a 6-month long intervention. Yeah. And here in Delhi, simultaneously it was flowing in Delhi as well as in Poland. And this year it is the second phase. We have taken the project to Kashmir in Army Goodwill School, Bonyar, and we are doing it in Assam Rifles Public School in Kohima, Chishvema and Boka, and here in Delhi in Alok Bharti Public School. Also we are spreading our footprints in other schools. Recently we had a workshop in Sanskriti school.
Yes, I saw your
yeah. So
link of yours.
Yeah, so these are little steps, and we are hoping to spread the idea of talking about empathy and compassion at a regular basis in the schools.
I think empathy should be a subject taught.
Absolutely.
Irrespective of the classes.
Absolutely.
Class 1 to 12.
Absolutely.
Because the issues change
Yeah.
that the child deals with.
Yeah.
But then the factor of empathy is always
Absolutely,
there.
absolutely. In fact, the larger vision for the project is to be able to create a curriculum around empathy, and hopefully, you know, to let it flow in a series of schools.
So what's the kind of reaction you get when you go and meet the principals and the academicians and talk to them about empathy? Do they मतलब वो उतनी तवज्जो उसको देते हैं जो जनरली एकेडमिक्स को दी जाती है, या फिर आपको एक्चुअली उनका ध्यान अपनी तरफ खींचना पड़ता है कि दिस इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट?
Okay, so there has been a certain shift in the approach towards these abstract concepts, which are concepts when we are talking about it, but in schools largely I think educators have started realizing how deeply integrated they are in the day-to-day functioning of the school life of a child and the teachers as well, and they've become way more open to, you know, address it, to talk about it, to bring it into the discourse of the schools. So yes, they are very much open to talk about empathy and compassion, and since after the pandemic I think it has become the buzzword across the world.
So Ms. Lakhera, I remember that you are a beautiful singer and your husband plays wonderful mouth organ. So अभी भी जुगलबंदी का टाइम मिलता है?
Yes, we do that. In fact, in our own family, the elder son Arjun, he plays guitar quite well. So whenever Vicky is on chutti and he comes home, so we generally end up playing guitar and mouth organ and me singing and humming and all
We have
that
a lot
stuff.
of musical evenings.
Yes, we do have that, and we've got friends also, incidentally, who are good musicians and who like to sing and who like to join in the fun of all the music.
I remember one such evening at your place one day.
Yeah.
When we sang, like we just kept singing.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Ms. Lakera, any message for your husband who's been always, supportive of all your decisions?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know whether I can give that kind of a message on air, but definitely I am more than grateful for the kind of support that he has always given me. He's been very encouraging, and he's always kind of, in fact, he's the one who has pushed me out of my limits. He always he keeps telling me that you are now settling down into your comfort zone, get out of it. So I would, had it not been for him, I would perhaps have continued to teach in a school, which is a very good thing as such, to be a teacher. But I wouldn't have explored things on the other side of the fence.
The horizon has broadened.
Yes, absolutely.
You've done so much.
Absolutely. The awareness, the horizon, the self-learning, the self-journey, all of that, has been the takeaway for me.
And Ms. Lakera, what about your kids? What are they doing?
So the elder son, he's completed his engineering and he's about to join Oracle, and the younger one, he's studying in Bloom Public School and he's in class 12 now. His boards are going to be next year.
So I'm sure that your child is aware of your project Empathy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure वो suggestions देता होगा आपको शायद से कि mama, look at that from this point of view, being a class 12 child, I can analyze it from this manner, from this angle. Does it happen?
Oh, Arthi, now that is the paradox. दिया तले अंधेरा होता है. So whatever work I'm doing, it is, they are firstly, they do take interest, they ask me once in a while, but it is one more thing for them happening in my life. They really don't get into the nitty-gritties of it or getting into the suggestion mode or anything like that. Rather, sometimes the younger one especially, he says, lecture मत देना अब तुम, मतलब मैं जैसे कर रहा हूँ मुझे करने दो, don't lecture. So sometimes whatever I have to tell him, he sees it as a lecture also. So
वो तो normal है, मम्मी जो भी बोलती है
वो lecture ही होता है. So yeah, so in the house we really don't get to talking about what I'm working at and all that stuff.
But I feel that empathy for class 1 child and class 12 would be absolutely different. The angle would be different. सोच अलग होती है. तो when you're trying to make somebody understand about project empathy, especially when you're talking to the kids that you're addressing, do you give them a case that this is case study है, ऐसा है situation, तो आप क्या करोगे? Does it happen that way, or you give them something to read and then get their reaction? Okay, so if I were to talk about empathy and if I were to answer this question of yours, I would like to quote J. Krishnamurti's one of the quotes that he said, that one human being is the representative of the whole of the human race. And having said that, for a long time I kept wondering what it meant. It made no sense to me. But when I started working on this project, I realized at the emotional level what a little child feels, the happiness, the anger, the jealousy, and we don't really know all the emotional vocabulary as such, Arthi. And so many times we are even confused about emotions, what we are feeling. So that state of confusion, that state of feeling certain emotions, I think it remains consistent. The context can change, the concepts may change, the life experiences may change, but we as people, as humans, we feel emotions. That ability to feel emotions for a young kid and for a child in class 12, for him or her, it may change to a situation where they are having a heartbreak. The love situation might not be moving well. For a little child, it may be having lost a pencil or a favorite rubber. But the angst and the stress
and so that is that point of vulnerability in human beings, it remains consistent. The fears, the doubts, they remain consistent, and that is to be able to identify that within ourselves, that becomes the connecting cord to experience empathy for another human
So
being.
you think that empathy is also stress is also a part of empathy, or vice versa?
I don't think stress is a part of empathy, but to be able to sense the stress in another person for
that
whatever,
is empathy.
for whatever reasons, is definitely empathy. I mean, in fact, in the project itself, as a matter of the vision, we would definitely like to touch upon what shape does empathy take for a uniformed personnel. How
So
do
true.
they experience empathy, and how do they practice empathy, and especially in a conflict zone? It is such
Empathy
a
in different professions could
Yeah,
be something that
different professions, but particularly for a uniformed soldier, because for a soldier to be able to portray their masculine self and not to show their fear,
Yes.
that is what is expected
It's
out of them.
something like how I would describe that, you tell a male child कि रोते नहीं है.
हाँ, exactly.
And I find that so irritating. How
Yeah.
can you say rote nahi? Rona is an emotion.
Yes.
Rona is not about being a boy or a girl.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, I think that's very deep and sensitive.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So and what is it that you're looking at for Project Empathy going on further?
Moving forth, as I said, we are working on creating a curriculum around empathy based on the project's journey. All the case studies and stories that we are coming across through children in Kashmir, in Northeast, and in Delhi. These are three
Are you
different.
planning to do it as a podcast-based thing, or is it like a curriculum in terms of textbooks, or
We would, as and whenever, I'm not really clear how we will get it rolling, but there are certain activities, for example, journaling activities, artwork, dance therapy, all of this can become a part of a very interesting curriculum in the schools to flow. And from there, one can hope for a therapeutic experience to emerge for the students in the classroom itself, where they don't have to go to a separate counselor and discuss their problems, where they find a non-judgmental space to come forth and open up and not feel as if somebody is going to look down upon them for having shared so much of emotion.
Yes.
But they find a space where they can just open up and talk about what they are feeling inside. Most of the times we are wearing a mask, when we are meeting people,
Yes.
whatever we may be feeling inside.
Yes.
So we want those masks, at least for the children and teachers, to come off. And from there you can see a very intimate bond getting created between the educator and the learner. As such, the roles can be interchanged in so many instances.
Then it also gets extended to the family, to the
Yes,
mother, to the
absolutely,
father.
absolutely.
So,
For all the stakeholders in the school, for that matter.
Yes.
And school is a microcosm of the outer world,
Yes.
as such, so
That
that is the
so
whole
true.
idea. Yeah.
So, Ms. Lakira, what has been the biggest learning once you decided that you are going to be doing some project that you so closely are passionate about and that you believe in? Where did that motivation come from, and what was the inspiration behind it?
All right. So that is something, Arthi. For a very long time, the kind of work that I'm doing, it's not always that I'm getting paid for it. So many times I have to keep on moving forth in this journey on a voluntary basis. So and there are friends of mine who are doing really well as teachers in all the plush schools. So many times I felt, and sometimes even my husband suggested that perhaps you can stop this work and you can go back to the school and take up teaching and all that stuff. But there is something which just holds me back. It would not allow
That's
me
your
to
belief in the
yeah,
concept that you've created.
that is I suppose the belief is there, and I don't think I can go back to a regular teaching mode now in a school, because I believe that the non-academic part of education has to be
looked into.
addressed equally in the schools. I believe in that. We are creating human beings after all, and I barely remember what I learnt in, let's say, a geography class
Yes.
or a history class to the T, but I remember how my
The life
teacher made me
lesson.
feel.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and that
Do you
has
think
made.
the NEP would be beneficial for your project Empathy?
Yes, I do
whenever
think
it
that.
starts?
Yes, I think that because out there there is an endeavor to talk about empathy and compassion. There is
And the
that
holistic
vision is there.
development
Yes, yes, absolutely. And to that extent, if we talk about the Delhi government, intervention in terms of having introduced the happiness curriculum, in whatever way it has been taken up, it is besides the point. But somebody has had the vision to talk about it, to bring it into the into the day-to-day functioning of a government school,
Yes.
and that is a big takeaway according to me.
I think there will be, periods in school which would be happiness, emotions,
Yeah, yeah.
or a period which is like called whatever, do whatever you
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah.
and you can be whatever you want to. And
Yeah.
I think that would change the perspective of a child so much more.
Yes, absolutely. Also, like this year, we are doing these workshops for teachers, and the concept that we are bringing alive in these workshops is the collective compassionate memories.
Okay.
The collective memories, and we are trying to put this idea forth to the teachers. What is the collective memory you are gifting to your children in your classroom? As a group of kids who are sitting in your classroom and you are the teacher, what is the pool of memories you are gifting them?
Okay.
Through your own actions, through your own interactions with them, and the way
Over
you
a
are.
period of time that you're asking them, or you're asking them on a daily basis?
No,
that
not
they-
no. This is the topic for the workshops that we are doing with teachers.
Okay.
To introduce the idea of collective memories, how they get created, how a certain experience in a classroom can leave a group of children thinking of a certain way, in a certain way of a teacher.
And always would bring a smile to the face.
Yes,
whenever
absolutely,
you think
absolutely, and it is also directly related to the kind of psyche we inhabit in school and further on. Also, there are certain
True.
things there that become a part of our being. So.
Talking about memories, Ms. Lakira, what has been very wonderful memory as an army officer's wife that is very close to your heart?
Oh, I would say that if I may bring it up here, Arthi, meeting your own husband, he was a newcomer in 13 Armored, and the way we met, he was almost like such a great friend, more than being a junior. And he made the whole he would make the whole party come alive. He would just his jokes would have me in splits. So yes, definitely that's a very wonderful memory that I have of my journey beginning in the army itself, and then subsequently, of course, in different places. NDA was a very wonderful place which I got to experience, and very recently RCDS, when Vikas had gone for his course in RCDS, there also the good part for me was that I came across women from all across the world,
Yes.
and it didn't feel as if I was meeting them for the very first time. It was very easy for me to get acquainted with them and subsequently make friends with them as well. So I think somewhere down the line, the work that I have been doing, it has also seeped into the way I look
Yes.
at people,
Yes.
how I go out and
The way
interact
you
with the
relate to
world.
them has become different.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of hang-ups or biases, they have really dropped down. So,
So
yeah.
you had a love marriage, or was it arranged?
No, it's a completely arranged marriage. It got arranged between the two Mossas and Mossies on both the ends, and the meeting point happened to be in Meerut, and that is where we got engaged even. And I was quite annoyed about the fact that why are we going to Meerut, why can't they come to Lucknow,
Acha.
but then of course a mid ground was found, and we got engaged out there. Yeah,
What
and
do you
there
think,
has,
Ms. Lakira, is generally the most challenging thing for us as the wife of an army officer?
I think there is a certain loss of identity that each one of us goes through. However, I do feel that these days it's changing to a great extent. women by and large, and it's a social phenomena which has occurred, women have become way more aware of what they want to do and how they want to do, and in that sense spouses have become very much supportive and accommodative, and that includes the Fauji spouses as well.
Yes.
People have become way more open to letting and
they're all saying
creating.
yes,
yeah, perhaps
telling the wives,
you're free to do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
So that shift has also occurred, but initially I did feel and that I was losing a part of me, and it would make me feel uncomfortable, but then I just flowed along. But now I became a part of it. I enjoyed that part also. It's not as if that I was not enjoying it. I enjoyed every bit of it. But yes, after a while, when your children are growing up, when they are finding their own
when
worlds,
the emptiness syndrome starts to happen in your life, then you look back and then you think that
have I created something for myself of worth and value or not? That individuality
and then
also.
you get a vision for yourself, and I think that's exactly what is happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope that your project Empathy reaches out far, and everybody knows about Project Empathy, Mrs. Lakhera.
Thank you so much, Arthi. Thanks a lot.
Any message for the wives, I would not say army officer wives specifically, who are watching the show, the wives, generally
the women. The women. Having voiced my a little bit of I wouldn't really say misgiving, but the part where you lose your identity, I would still go ahead and say that between the two genders there is a certain kind of parity, and if we as women give away a lot of ourselves, it's not as if that it's all easy for men. And so to have that compassion and empathy for the men folk also would go a long way in creating a more compassionate world altogether.
Wow.
That toxic masculinity that we so many times we as women gift to our sons, don't cry or don't be such a sissy or whatever. These are certain remarks that we end up exactly. So to be able to have that kind of a compassion for our men, I think that would go a long way in creating a more gender equal and a more compassionate world.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lakhera, and I hope that Reachout Foundation and your Project Empathy both do wonders, and I get to hear one day that empathy is a subject in schools. I mean, that would be such an amazing thing.
That would be a dream come true actually for me personally.
I'm sure that will happen.
Thank you so much, Arthi.
Thank you.
Very wonderful meeting you.
So that was the beautiful Mrs. Lakhera talking about empathy, and I so hope that empathy becomes a subject in so many schools. This was all in today's episode of How's the Josh. This is me, Arthi Karthik, saying thank you so much for your time, and do like, subscribe and comment on my channel. Thanks for your time.